In virtually any manufacturing and production situation, heat is the catalyst that turns raw materials into finished products. And since large plants require large amounts of energy to operate, conventional wisdom would tell you that a high priority is placed on insulation to harness as much of that heat as possible. Wrong. In fact, recent research by an industry leader concluded that 63% of energy projects with a payback of less than 3 years are never initiated. Perhaps that's because historically, when the cost of energy was inexpensive, no one really cared how much energy was lost in the manufacturing or refining process. And when you throw in a "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" mentality, you can see why things like improving insulation are not high on the budget list. But when you consider that the utility cost of a plant these days can run 50% or more of its entire operating expense, maybe you should give insulation another, more serious look. We recently took a walk around an industrial facility to look for random examples of heat loss, losses that drain dollars from company coffers, like a silent bandit. Chris Kahn has the report.
In any manufacturing or refining scenario, a company's cost is impacted significantly by the amount of energy used in its production process. The loss of heat means the loss of manufacturing capacity, which means the loss of profit. And often you can see those profits floating away right before your very eyes. This is Keith Wagner, an international representative with the International Association of Heat and Frost Insulators and Allied Workers. In his hand is a heat gun. He points the gun, pulls the trigger, and a laser shoots where he's aiming. The gun gives him a reading of how hot this target is. The hotter the target, the more heat, the more money that is escaping into the air. Today, Keith's target is any pipe, drum, or valve inside this refinery. He's comparing or illustrating heat loss by taking readings between pipes with good insulation, poor insulation, or no insulation.
When we do the shooting of the poorly insulated piping, even though the piping is insulated, it needs some work to be done. It registers approximately 50 degrees Fahrenheit on the scale. When I move the gun over to the uninsulated valve, it immediately jumps up to 150 degrees, showing a dramatic heat loss. This is something you actually see, we actually visualize, and with today's rising fuel costs, it's felt in everybody's pocketbook.
The hottest part of that pipe was only 150 degrees. In truth, not that bad, but we're just getting started. The more we got into the plant, the more extreme the temperature variations were. Widespread heat loss situations like this prompted consultant engineer Mr. Gordon Hart to do a study that was published in Insulation Outlook magazine. The results would make any CEO or CFO fall right out of their chair. Using an educated set of calculations, Hart was able to show that even 1 square foot of 600-degree pipe covered with 4-inch thick insulation would save 16 barrels of oil every 5 years. Using a baseline number like $100 a barrel, that's $1,600 simply gone with only 1 square foot of exposed pipe. Now, how many square feet of poor or no insulation does the average small plant have? The number is actually in the hundreds of thousands. Now, how many plants are online with one company at any given time? That number is usually through the roof. But whatever your number is, you're definitely not alone. Because Hart didn't stop there, using his educated set of criteria and calculations, Hart estimated that in 2004 alone, U.S. oil refineries collectively lost an estimated 585,000 barrels per day due to excess energy loss through damaged or missing mechanical insulation. Using Hart's heat loss numbers from 2004, with a rough estimate of today's oil prices, the number is more than $58 million in heat loss. So, if you're ever in a position to be near a heat gun that is showing you a pipe that's 350 degrees next to an insulated pipe that's 80, don't think of it as numbers in Fahrenheit. Think of it as your money that is silently slipping out of your reach. If you'd like the details on Hart's study, make sure you pick up a copy of the May 2005 edition of Insulation Outlook magazine. Hoping you don't shoot the messenger, I'm Chris Kahn.
Thanks, Chris. Everyone knows it's not practical to take on a sweeping insulation project, one that covers every pipe and valve at every company's facilities all at once. But many large manufacturers that have begun the process are seeing immediate results, and they're ramping up their insulation upgrades. One of the tools they're using is the Department of Energy endorsed 3E Plus program. It's a way to take a look at an industrial facility and break out an energy-saving plan into real numbers. It lets you see what the insulation costs are and what the savings would be. More on 3E Plus is just a click away.